If you're a heat and air machine technician or even a salesperson, what is time budgeting in your sales process and why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. You know, for the past 25 years, I have spent my life trying to figure out how to be better at sales myself and how to explain to others better ways to understand the sales process. And I want to break down a concept for you called time budgeting. Time budgeting in sales is something that's not talked about enough. And it's a strategy that you could use when you're brand new. It's a strategy that you could use when you're closing. It's a strategy you could use when you're not closing and you're trying to get out of a sales slump. It's a strategy that you can use if you're like, hey, how do I convey this message to salespeople? How do I make sure that they understand that momentum through the sales call happens in steps and it's not all about speed? And I really want you as a salesperson, you as a pro, to understand that there are individual components to your sales process, to your sales cycle. And when you're struggling, this is one of the first places to go to and look at your time budget. Right? So when you're struggling in sales, what happens is you tend to speed through the sales process, speed through the presentation, get to the very end to try to close the deal to make up for the money that you've lost. When in all realities, there is a rhythm and pace to a sales presentation, a sales process, a sales conversation, whatever you have going on. So before we get into the diagram, before we get into the visualization, you should absolutely join my email publication. Go to this URL, type it into a browser, drop in your name, your email address, your phone number, and I will send you emails, right? You'll get emails from me. So time budgeting looks something like this. You could diagram this out however you want. You can take some time and figure out what you're gonna do, okay? So you've got the intro and rapport phase. So I'm gonna guess that your presentation's about an hour and a half. Just draw some lines and start through this process and think how long it takes for you to do whatever it is that you do, right? So you got your intro and rapport. Oh, you like Hawaii? I like Hawaii. Oh, you like cats? I like cats. And that's like 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, right? And you let that other person initiate the change in the conversation. Then you got your discovery phase, which is super importante, right? And this discovery phase could take you 20 minutes. And then you've got your presentation phase, which is where you talk about your widget, your product, your service, whatever you have to offer, right? At 20 to 30 minutes. So if you add up the time, we got 10, 20, 30, we're at an hour. And then we're going to completely slow everything down. We are going to pause time. We are going to freeze time as we speak. And we are going to do the last check-in that we have. The last check-in that we have before we go into the close, before we talk about the money. We are going to do a lockdown technique, okay? Lockdown technique is you're going to ask and confirm that you're the company, product, service, widget, gizmo that everybody wants, okay? And then the close. As a percentage, your close is going to take 10 to 20% of however much time it took for you to give your presentation. You got to budget. You have to budget time for the close, right? Most people are like, oh, I've watched a movie and the magic dude closes in like 30 seconds. But the reality is there is a bunch of questions swirling around what's going on here. Even if you've done a lockdown technique, you got your close and then you got your paperwork. So I would encourage you to figure out how you will draw this. How will you draw your time budgeting process? Because at the end of the day, like, this isn't something that people really figure out, especially in a sales slump. But I've worked with salespeople who are at the top, right? And we take a look at what time it takes, and then worked with salespeople at the very bottom, brand new, starting in a sales slump, in a struggle, right? And when we go, hey, we're gonna work on a time budget, there's some magic that happens. There's some mindset shift. There's some spark that goes to the ignition. And so I would highly encourage you to take some time today, whatever process, product, widget, gizmo that you have to sell, make sure that you do some time budgeting and figure out, like, how is my sales process going to be? What does that look like? And then here is a super secret tip. If you have the legal capability of recording your sales presentation and putting it something through like Otter AI, you can go back and take a look at a couple things. One, how many questions are you asking? Right? So you've got a time budget, and I'm also going to ask you, you got a question budget. And it's good that you stuck around for this part of the presentation, right? Do you have a question budget? How many questions have you budgeted for each step? And so if you break it down and create an outline, what you're going to find is most salespeople don't ask enough questions. They talk about themselves too much. They try to build rapport too hard, which leads to inefficient sales teams, sales processes, and they don't utilize a preset lockdown technique, okay? You got one of three things to do from here, just one of three. Find the subscribe button, click on it. Every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, you know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.